I'm 100% serious. Mortal Kombat 1 is in a state where not one character has an infinite, but two. This one is a fun one though, and no, not because of the BBC combo. You sick mother... but because the circumstances are so improbable that I don't think NRS even really needs to address it. The culprits involved with this infinite are Kenshi. Geras must be playing against him, at least at the moment we haven't found another character that he can do it against. On top of this, if you are the Geras player trying to do the infinite, you need to be using Pharah cameo. Man, you know I say all roads lead back to Scorpion, and somehow they do because Scorpion's best cameo, or tied for best cameo, also breaks the game in some way. It's so funny. So you can already tell this is pretty impractical because nobody plays Kenshi anyways outside of like the top 10,000 players where he absolutely dominates. You know what? I'm not going down that rabbit hole. But next up, you can't just be standing right here in the mid screen to get the infinite to happen. To start, you would need to pop not one, not two, but all three hourglasses before you even attempted the infinite. Next up, you would need Pharah to have charged you up to the second level of her damage boost pain and gain. So we pop one, we pop two, we pop three, then we gotta pop both Pharahs. Then once you do that, Kenshi needs to himself pull out Sento stance. You need this to get it to work. And even if you got all of that to work, you would then need to make sure your opponent was all the way in the corner so that it could be done, because the infinite requires things that need the opponent's back to the wall for it to work. But it's actually still a super cool reason as to why it works. It takes advantage of a bug in the maximum damage safeguard that the game has in place. Geras takes advantage of it. It doesn't really make sense as to how it causes this to happen, at least for me. I get that the gravity can be adjusted. I don't know, somebody will have to explain why parts of this is whiffing. But now we're here in the corner and you think, all right, it's time to show it. No, you also need 3 bars of meter because you'll be spending all 3 bars on one stun to launch, as well as getting the double time or whatever, where we can get Geras' clone on screen. Bro, this is such a resource dump luck thing. I think it should be kept in the game because Sub-Zero had an infinite on Geras at one point. It was hilarious. The only requirement to start it is you have to open the opponent up with forward 1, which is actually okay. It's an 11 frame mid, which isn't bad at all. And we'll be doing the entire string, forward 1, 2, 1+3, and converting with Pharah. You're probably wondering why I'm doing so much explanation. It's because when you see it, you'll have no idea what's happening. I'm serious. The screen looks like a mess. Now, I want to make it clear, I'm not 100% certain it has to be Kenshi, but the reason Kenshi is involved is because when you do hits on ghosts like this, you actually do more damage. That was 18.5% versus just regular. If I do the exact same thing, it's only 16.5%. So we're trying to get to maximum damage as fast as possible. To break it down a bit better, we start with the forward 1 string like this, then we need to do forward 2 amplified time stop. Once we get there, we do a stand 4 into double time, and when in double time, you need to manage to get Geras to do 2 separate back 1-2s, which right here, you're seeing me mess up, is really hard to time. But he should be doing this move right here twice in a row. Your clone should. I promise. To get it to happen, it is such tight timing. So you get the first one right here, but again, I was too late on the second one because you can't do it too early or you won't input the second back 1-2. But if you input it too late, Geras' animation will end. While the clone is doing that, you are doing the forward 2-4. And that hits the point in the infinite where you need the 3 sets of hourglasses because you need to use his down back 3, which is this time stop first. That's the one you have to lock the opponent with. It's meterless, but it does require the entire hourglass. And then finally, after we've used all our resources to finish with this, we start looping time stop because it becomes glitched only when maximum damage is present, which I think is exactly why it was never QA tested out of the game. You might be able to do this by hitting cameos alongside the opponent as well. I just haven't seen it done because I believe that affects the gravity more than just having Ghost on screen. All right, so we do it by popping all the hourglasses. Then we need Pharah charging us. And then we do something like this. I already messed it up. Oh my. But you see, I was already at 616 damage. I dropped. Look, I don't want to break my fingers, so here is a clip of somebody else doing it that found this first. It's quite impressive. It's not the most interesting thing in the world once we reach the later parts of the Infinite, but as you'll see, we reach max damage and things get a bit weird with Geras' time stop. Essentially, every time he drops from the sky, he doesn't actually hit the opponent or anything, and the opponent gets no added gravity. So you could just keep re-looping them in that time stop forever. It'll go on until you want it to stop, essentially. So you could get to 100%. It'll take you all day to do it, but you would time out the opponent essentially just endlessly doing time stop right here, because something about maximum damage makes it so the gravity / time stop drop is broken. And I guess also because you could do cool things that end with your fatal blow instead, it just becomes a combo that ends that becomes the highest amount of hits combo in the entire game. It really is wild to watch. It's just so improbable that I don't even think it should be patched out. If somebody ever hit this in a real match, I don't know. I don't think I would disqualify the player, even if it was in a tournament setting. You know, Kenshi deserves this. Nerf Kenshi by allowing this Geras Infinite. The odds of reaching maximum damage are super low. I mean, as you can see from what we had to do just to get it to happen. And even if QA knew it was a thing, is it worth risking breaking other parts of the game trying to fix this? Because the code does its job as long as it's not maximum damage. This is just a crazy circumstantial Infinite, but you can see there are a lot of different reactions to the Infinite being around, especially because we had the MK1 DLC cancellation leak come out. I want to talk about that in another video. I don't think the game is dead like a lot of people are saying, but I do definitely disagree with takes like this that are just mad at the QA team for NRS, because yeah, the counter is, why would they have ever tested something so astronomically unlikely even though it's fixed properly any other time? Hey, being mad at the Ghostface Infinite makes sense. The fact that that combination was never QA tested doesn't really add up to me. It is such a common thing that somebody was bound to do within the first week of the character releasing. Not fixing it yet, I can kind of give some leeway to, but also we announced Pro Comp Season 2 and we still have an Infinite in the game that is easy. I just think that's because it's the holidays. Around Thanksgiving, a lot of people just take their whole vacation time around that holiday. So even if there were people in the Netherrealm offices, it's not like anybody there has the power to drop a brand new hotfix into the game. Anyways, I'll be back with an actual gameplay video tomorrow. Don't know if I'll be doing Road to Rank 1 because I want to wait on a patch, but I'll probably do a Road to Rank 2. I don't care about my second account even if I drop a bunch of games.